The controversy over Maggi Noodles going off the shelves in Uttar Pradesh after being found with lead and MSG beyond permissible limits. NDTV has accessed government documents which detail the violations of government norms. Now other states are examining their units of Maggi Noodles as well.
This damaging report from the Central Food Laboratory in Kolkata shows the lead content in Maggi packets picked up from Uttar Pradesh to be 17.2 ppm, 7 times the permissible limit, as well as the presence of monosodium glutamate or MSG, while Maggi packets say no added MSG. This prompted the Uttar Pradesh Food Safety and Drug Administration to ask manufacturer Nestle to recall the entire batch. It is also exploring legal action against the company.
लीगल सेल से भी हम लोग उसको एग्जामिन करवा रहे हैं कि फर्दर एक्शन क्या लिया जा सकता है, वो हम लोग कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं।
फ्रेश सैंपल्स भी आप बता रहे थे भेजे गए हैं, वो फ्रेश सैंपल्स कब के हैं?
वो सर्विलांस के लिए वो सैंपल्स कुछ लिए गए हैं और उनके बारे में भी टेस्टिंग कार्रवाई चल रही है।
Nestle has defended itself, saying they do not add MSG to Maggi noodles and some raw materials may contain naturally occurring glutamate. Glutamate is safe and found in everyday high-protein foods. They also say that they regularly monitor for lead as part of their stringent quality control processes, and these tests have consistently shown lead levels in Maggi noodles to be within permissible limits. Doctors say that while the jury is still out on whether MSG is harmful or not, the presence of lead is certainly worrying. It can cause high blood pressure and kidney damage and is particularly harmful for children.
बच्चों में हानि जो है लेड की बहुत ज़्यादा होती है। जैसे बच्चों में जो डेवलपमेंटल स्किल्स होते हैं, जो उनके सीखने की जो क्षमता होती है, वो कम हो जाती है।
Following Uttar Pradesh's example, other states like Maharashtra and Gujarat too have sent in samples to laboratories as Maggi heads for testing times ahead. With camera person Rajesh Gupta and Sarfaraz Warsi, Neha Masih for NDTV.
Right, well, to discuss the issue of food safety that this decision has raised for all of us, joining me to discuss this in the studio, nutritionist and the director of Whole Foods, Ishi Khosla, is with me. We also have from Hyderabad, food and trade policy analyst Devendra Sharma, who joins us live from there. From Uttar Pradesh, which is in the eye of the storm because of having banned this particular batch, is Gaurav Bhatia, the head of the legal cell for the Samajwadi Party. And from Mumbai, Shaina NC of the BJP joining me. Gaurav Bhatia, I want to start with asking you, actually, Uttar Pradesh's decision yesterday. The samples had been sent for testing, but it was one particular batch that the state has pulled off the shelves, not every packet of Maggi noodles, just for a clarification.
No, Maya, you're right. Samples were taken from all across the state and they were then sent to the lab, and the results that came out are shocking. I was hearing the story on your channel, and it said that the limit was 7 times the permissible limit. Now, the maximum limit is 2.5 and the lead content was found to be 17.2. So, an important point here is that the maximum permissible limit is contravened here by 7 times. Right. And therefore, it is very dangerous for a person who's consuming this. And I was studying the act also. This in itself is an offense. A notice has to be served to the company that is producing, that is Nestle in this case. And if they do not improve upon the contents of Maggi, then actually their product can be recalled from throughout the state. And this also attracts an imprisonment of 6 years if it causes grievous injury to health, which in this case it would. So I think, you know, this is only a preliminary test, and right, it has disclosed some shocking results, and more needs to be done on this. Samples are being collected throughout the state.
Right.
After more samples have been tested, I think we can come to a conclusive finding whether all the samples have high content of lead or not.
All right. So across the states, Shaina NC, before I open up this debate to our food safety experts in the studio, your comments. Uttar Pradesh has taken this decision to recall a particular batch. Others could be in the dock as well. Other states are doing the testing. The fact is there are government guidelines. There is a Food Safety and Security Association that has regulations and guidelines. How does one implement them? This particular batch of Maggi has been tested. God knows how many there were that haven't.
But I think that, Maya, I think we need to address this on two accounts. As a mother, it's a very worrying story because not just about the lead content, but also the use of MSG, which is absolutely not good for the child's learning. The fact that you have 7 times the permissible lead obtained in so many packets, obviously we as in the central government will do what we can vis-a-vis, random checks all across the country. But some serious kind of accountability vis-a-vis Nestle, which seems to think that, they can get away in India and fool the consumer and suggest that, there is no content of MSG, there is only use of glutamate. And that the fact that they send out a report saying that, oh, this has been brought to our notice, but we were unaware of it, I think is hardly the way to get away. Whether it's the state where it is Uttar Pradesh or whether this kind of content is procured in any part of the country on a random survey, we need to ensure that people coming into our country and who are using our consumers under the garb of saying that this is healthy for your child cannot get away scot-free. And there is a severe punishment which needs to be implemented. The central government is very, very committed towards this, and I'm sure we will act immediately and diligently, whether it's just this one case or various others when it comes to processed foods.
It's nice to see the Samajwadi Party and the BJP both actually agreeing on the fact that this does need to be tackled. That's certainly a rare moment in this studio. But Devendra Sharma, I want you to come in on this. Shaina NC is making the point that companies like Nestle, for example, that are coming in from outside. Now, the fact is there are many Indian companies who produce pre-packaged foods as well. Are there any restrictions, guidelines, regulations, mandatory requirements that those companies go through? Or is it just big international brands? How do you work through this?
Well, I think what Shaina says is very right, first of all, because multinational corporations across the world have 2 standards, one for the developed countries and one for the developing countries. And they would often tell us that, because your water is polluted, your air is polluted, so therefore all these kinds of elements get into the product. But what they are not telling us, if you remember, even in the soft drinks case, they said that your water is polluted, that's why you have the pesticides content in your soft drinks. But what they were not telling us is that water in Europe is more polluted than in India. They have more content of pesticides in underground water in Europe than in India, and yet if you look at the specifications for Europe, they are much stringent and different than what they have in India. So I think that has been one area which, of course, we all know they have double standards, and I think Nestle has been caught on the wrong foot now, and I think it is very important for the government to really demonstrate that they mean business. Because the impression in India is that, of course, the food processing industry is growing. There are standards laid out by the Food Safety and Standard Authority, but they are mostly soft towards the for the processing industry. And I think they are not tough as far as the consumers are concerned, but they are very soft towards what the industry. And if you remember, in fact, in one of the scientific committees of this FSSA, they had actually had the company representatives there till Dinesh Sharma did a report which exposed them, and then of course it was dropped. So I think that kind of thing is going on in FSSA. So FSSA needs to now establish and show that they actually are trying to be really tough on this issue. They can't let Nestle go away, but at the same time there has to be deterring punishment so that it becomes a kind of a warning for the others. The small players that you talked about in the domestic arena, who also, I think today it's an open field. Nobody cares.
And I think
if you look at what is written on the
packets, and I think that's the question actually that we're also tackling. Ishi Khosla, come in on this, because this is also about pre-packaged processed foods versus what's available to an average consumer that is affordable, because natural fresh food is not always affordable.
Yeah, I first of all would want to say something about this entire thing. It's not about just noodles, or it's just not about one company or a multinational, it's about safe food.
Right.
And the goal for safe food can never be achieved by just one agency. It is multi-parties which have to work together to achieve this, right from your environment. For instance, lead, or for that matter, it's not even about lead, it's about arsenic, it's about mercury, it's about copper. There are so many heavy metals, it's about pesticide residues. So we are talking about safe food, and it is these toxins are really coming from the environment. If you look at your air, it's looking in the pollution. Lead is one of the most important things which comes out of exhausts. So whether it's your air, whether it's your soil and your water, they are contaminating the food that we are eating. So right from the environmental protection agencies to the manufacturers following good manufacturing practices to the regulation which we are talking about, all of them have to working together towards achieving safe food.
Right.
And therefore, we cannot just do a blame game. One sample has been found, but there may be so many, and lead could be in your vegetables, lead could be in your milk, lead could be in so many other products.
So where do you go from there?
Yeah, so therefore one really has to advocate as a population for safe food.